Currently lying inside of the Polar Peak iceberg sits the most dangerous, the most formidable, and the most mysterious outsider that we have ever come across in the history of Fortnite Battle Royale. We've had the blockbuster come from outer space. We've had the Ice King come from wherever the iceberg originally was. We've even had a giant purple cube spawn in from lightning. But none of those things will ever be as big or as impactful as the monster that is currently getting ready to attack the Fortnite island. This event is going to be like none other. It is going to be incredibly destructive, incredibly exciting, and one of a kind. If you thought the rocket launch was cool or the volcano eruption was memorable, the Polar Peak event is going to completely blow all of our previous events out of the water. And today we're breaking down what exactly the Polar Peak event is, when exactly it's going to happen, and what it means for Fortnite Season 9's finale and Season 10's launch. What's up guys, and welcome back to the Simply Fortnite channel, and thanks for stopping by. If you are new here, feel free to subscribe with your post notifications turned on, and if you enjoy the video, don't forget to drop a like rating on it as it would be much appreciated. And now without further ado, let's take a look at why the Polar Peak event is going to be the biggest event in Fortnite Battle Royale history. Now, right off the bat, we know that the Season 9/Season 10 event is going to be absolutely monumental for Fortnite Battle Royale, as we really haven't had any kind of seasonal event teased this early on into the current season. Of course, back when Kevin the Cube spawned in, that was a quote-unquote event that lasted all season long, but we didn't really know where exactly that was going to go or going to take us at the time. However, with the Polar Peak event this season, aka the Season 9 finale event, that will of course be the primary factor in the launch of Season 10, we actually have a pretty solid idea regarding how exactly things are going to unfold. And like I said, this event has technically already begun and will likely span the course of the next few weeks. Now, each season ever since Season 4 of Battle Royale has had at least one major one-time event start or unfold within it. And this season, our major one-time event is definitely going to be this Polar Peak event, since of course it's being teased in-game and evolving right before our very eyes right now. But also, Donald Mustard, the worldwide creative director of Epic Games, has actually even changed his Twitter bio to The Eye. And in the past, Donald's Twitter bio has read things along the lines of the iceberg and X marks the spot, so on and so forth. Of course, all referencing the seasonal storyline and all referencing the in-game events. Thus, we do have a pretty solid idea and reason to believe that Season 9's storyline, and what will be the start of the Season 10 storyline as well, is entirely based and focused around Polar Peak and the Eye, so to speak. Now, a few weeks back, players actually started noticing that while they were near Polar Peak, their screens would begin to shake and some snow would end up falling off of the iceberg. And we all originally thought that this was just because the iceberg was damaged by the volcanic eruption last season. But it turns out that a few days after the initial shaking started, a heartbeat could be heard just above the frozen lake, right at the very base of the Polar Peak iceberg. And now, obviously, when you go and visit that same spot, there is currently a gigantic eye frozen behind the ice. And this eye is actively hunting and responsive to what lies on the outside of the iceberg. As when you get close to the iceberg and the physical eye itself, you actually can hear the beast lock onto you, and the eye will follow you while you are within its range, which I'm not gonna lie is a little bit creepy. So this beast, monster, dragon, whatever it may be, which we'll actually discuss here in just a moment, is clearly waiting to break free from the ice and discover what the world outside has to offer. And more than likely, seeing as nothing good ever seems to happen to the Fortnite Islands, this beast is probably not going to be too friendly. Instead, it's going to be menacing and thirsty for chaos and destruction. So what exactly is going to happen when this beast gets unleashed? Well, the moment of truth has come, and honestly, as of right now, there are two very possible outcomes going around. The first relies on the monster not being a dragon, and the second revolves around this beast actually being a dragon. Now, we're not entirely sure what this beast is, but we do know it's coming from the same exact place that originally housed all of the dragon eggs. And we know it's absolutely massive in size, as well as the eyeball in and of itself is larger than any character on the island. So the first idea that people have is that this monster is actually Godzilla or some kind of giant dinosaur, and that the Polar Peak event is actually going to be a crossover with the new Godzilla King of the Monsters movie that just released. and if this beast does turn out to be Godzilla or some kind of similar monster, the area surrounding the iceberg is in imminent danger, especially the frozen lake in Greasy Grove, because I'm just saying, if this beast steps foot onto that ice, it could very easily crack and break apart, exposing Greasy Grove and giving us access to one of the most OG points on the entire island once again. However, at the same time, the beast could also step on the Greasy Grove buildings, and then Greasy Grove is not so much Greasy Grove anymore, it's just flattened Grove that was stepped on, and now there's just footprints everywhere, I suppose. At the same time though, if this beast ends up not being Godzilla and is instead a dragon, the greater extent of the entire Fortnite island could be in trouble instead of just the iceberg biome itself. For instance, this dragon could easily fly over and cause destruction in every corner of the island. It could breathe fire and take out towns and cities in the matter of a few moments. If this thing, whatever it is, can fly, we might be in even more trouble than if it could only walk across the land. Either way though, whether this monster ends up being some kind of Godzilla hybrid or a dragon, we know for sure that when it breaks out of the iceberg at Polar Peak, the Polar Peak location itself is going to be changing a ton, because if this monster is as big as we're theorizing it to be, the foundation of Polar Peak is going to crumble away and likely cause the iceberg to come crashing down, destroying the ice castle and some of the area around it as well. I mean, keep in mind, aside from the volcano, Polar Peak is one of the largest areas and objects that we've ever seen on the entire island, and if it were to break apart, it is going to cause some catastrophic damage to the map. On top of that, seeing as the frozen lake is literally right next to the iceberg, if pieces of the iceberg break off and come falling down on the lake, that could also very easily break the ice and cause Greasy Grove to get exposed as well. But here is where things get really exciting. If you thought all of this stuff we've talked about so far is crazy and just really out there, here's how we think the Polar Peak event is going to completely change the game. We've been speculating for quite some time now, if I'm honest, that eventually we are going to see some kind of community boss fight event here in Fortnite Battle Royale. An event where players in-game have to join up and link together in order to take down some kind of formidable beast. At first, we thought it might have been during the Ice Storm event and we all had to fight off the Ice King, and then we thought it was going to be the Kraken, but obviously neither of those events panned out. But now, seeing as we know that some kind of massive monster or beast is 100% guaranteed going to be coming to the islands this season, I see no reason why the Polar Peak event couldn't be our very first one-time community boss fight event, in which, when the monster breaks free of the iceberg, we have to attack it with any and all weapons we find and take it down in order to keep the islands from being completely destroyed, or altered in some kind of great fashion. Who knows? Maybe one day the island will be destroyed entirely. Will that actually happen during this event? Really, only time will tell there. But of course, Epic Games is always trying to set the bar higher and higher, and while the current one-time live in-game events are already incredibly unique and original, and really something you can't find anywhere else, they are pretty exclusive to Fortnite Battle Royale. Having some kind of community boss fight event would be completely out of this world cool and on an entirely different level of creative. Imagine, for instance, players who participate in the event get some kind of dragon scale back bling or something to show off that they took down the creature and protected the island. Something like that could be so cool and really get players involved with the event rather than just having players simply watch it happen like most of our previous events in the past. One thing we know for sure though, this Polar Peak event, the Greasy Grove event, whatever you want to refer to it as, it is going to be absolutely monumental for Fortnite Battle Royale and easily the biggest event we have ever seen in Fortnite Battle Royale history. This event is definitely going to be something that completely changes the game, and of course, as more information becomes available about it, we'll be keeping you guys updated here on the channel. With that being said though, that does effectively wrap things up for today. Be sure to let us know down in the comments below what your all-time favorite one-time event here in Fortnite Battle Royale actually is. Of course, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to drop a like on it, give it a big old thumbs up, as it would be much appreciated. And if you are brand new here to the channel, feel free to subscribe with your post notifications turned on, that way you'll never miss another upload. Of course, by clicking that bell icon and joining the notification squad, every time we post a new video, YouTube will actually send you a message, that way you can be the first person to watch, like, and comment on each and every new upload. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the battle bus. Peace out.